Hi everyone. Have you ever had the experience where you had to search through all your different messaging apps and try to remember where you began a specific conversation? Was it in WhatsApp, Messenger, or maybe Instagram? I can't remember. Well, if you have, please raise your hand. All right, I see it happened, not to only me. Well, this situation also happened to one of my friends, but at work. She couldn't remember where she had put her design file or on which platform she had started a conversation with her team. Well, she had enough of that situation and she asked for my help. Hi, I'm Maureen. I'm a business analyst at Odoo, and my purpose is to help people such as Anna to discover the possibilities of a fully integrated ERP such as Odoo. Before we begin, please scan the QR code on which you can add all the different questions that you will have, and we can talk about those after the presentation. I'll let you scan for a few seconds. All right, in case two, the QR code will be available at the end of the presentation as well. Okay, so Anna has just received an order from one of our most loyal customers to create a tailor-made office desk. Her loyal customer is Mr. Frank Einstein. Well, you see, Mr. Frank Einstein had struggled now to find an office desk which will allow him to sit down and stand up at the same time without having any neck cramps or so, because he needs to lay over excessively. He has also asked for something a bit more specific because he really wanted to make sure that he had a very dark theme kind of office desk. Anna has agreed to produce this one, and she has asked for my help to show how it's possible to do that inside of Odoo. But before we show the demonstration, she had a few requests about the ERP. She wanted to make sure that she will be able to manage the different designs, that she will be having a full project of that design, having different tasks and so on, and also be able to plan the different tasks ahead and assign it to the right people. As a second part, she wanted to make sure that she had a good overview of the different production template and be able to manage any last-minute changes if needs to. Lastly, she wanted to have an overview, complete overview of the different revenues and costs of the project, but as well the manufacturing. Okay, now that we have all the different information, let's show how it's going to be done into the Odoo database. So Anna and Mr. Frank Einstein have agreed on a 100-hour design package in order to manage the design and the production of the office desk. Let's create this one. We'll go into the sales application, create a new quotation, select Frank Einstein, and then the design package. And there I'm going to add the 100 hours and confirm. As soon as I have confirmed, you can notice that there is a project created on top, as well the task and the recorded hours. The one that is going to be interesting us for now is the project, and if we go in there, we can see that there is 100 hours allocated time in there automatically added. But what is the most interesting part is in the settings. Indeed, in there we can see that there is a specific analytic account which will help us cover the different revenues and costs of that project, and it has been automatically created. Okay, now that we have those information, let's go into the task, and we see that there is automatically a few tasks created thanks to a project template in there. Well, even though we are into an engineering to order, it can be that some tasks may need to be repeated for every different custom request. And this is the case in here, so we have created a few of them. But if needs to, we can, of course, add new tasks if needs to, and also with the new feature of the version 19 to have a specific template for every task created. For now, we are happy with what we have in here, and as you can see, we have also added a few tags in there, which will allow us to basically help us into the assignment of the different tasks in terms of specificities or capacities of the different employees that will take charge of each one of them. Well, I was discussing about employees and so on, but for now we cannot see any information about who is doing what task, so let's manage that. To do so, we'll go into the Gantt view, where we'll be able to plan in advance the different tasks that needs to be done. In this case, I'm just going to select next Monday, and I'm going to group by tags. Why so? Because, well, for the meetings, for example, I'm not really interested to plan them because they can happen during the whole out of the project. So I'm going to just open the design, production, project management, and then quality, add them in here, and then click on the auto plan. Automatically, you have seen that Odoo has planned the different tasks for me based on the status of my Kanban overview. Well, that's great because for me it was indeed the order that was requested in there. In case of, I can of course change the order if needs to. But we are still missing the assignees right in there. So let's assign them in here from the list overview, and we are going to once again group by tags. Then we select here the design. Anna is my head designer, so I'm going to assign it to her. Then I go into production. This one is going to be for Edward. Then we have the project management. It's going to be for myself this time. And lastly, the quality for Elizabeth. Okay, if we now go back into the Gantt overview, we can now see, if I remove those ones, that everything has been planned to every different employees accordingly. But I see that we have something in here not mentioned beforehand. Well, Elizabeth is going on leave on the last week, and so we need to reschedule those ones. It's okay because we have a bit of buffer for that project, so I can reschedule when she will be back. Just going to re-show it again in here. We have a small red banner, and if we click in here, we receive the message that she's on time off for that moment. Okay, I'm not ready with that. Everything is planned, and so every employee can check what are the different tasks and when it needs to be done. Let me go back into the Kanban overview in here, and let's go specifically into one of the tasks. Engineering to order, requires a bit of change, adaptation on the moment itself because everything needs to be tailor-made, right? So it's sometimes hard to have a specific description that is created in advance for every task. And it's okay. You can add the description when needs to, you can add more info if needs to, or add every document if when required. But for that specific task, in fact, Anna is kind of using a same or similar template in every different projects, and she wants to add those information in here again. Instead of having to write it down again, she will use the knowledge application in order to create a specific article in which she will set the different templates for her sketch design. How can we do that? We go into here, into the knowledge application, search for the design, and we see in here the different templates that she has created, such as, for example, the checklist for her sketch, as well as some notes. This is quite useful because I can copy it in here, go back directly to the task, and paste it, and voila! And Anna has directly her different to-dos for the sketch part. And let's say that she has already performed a few of them, and she also notified me that she has already performed 5 hours of work on this one. Okay, we are good to go. If I now go back into the Kanban overview, what we can see also is that the time has changed. So we had previously 12 hours, now there is only 7 left. So it's also kind of like a guidance for us. Well, we have seen how to manage the different tasks, how to assign them, how to plan them, and so on. But it would be interesting for Anna to also see a bit of information about the real-time costs. Because, as you have seen, time has already been spent, and she would like to see how much it's costing at the moment. To do so, you can use one nice functionality into the project application, which is the tab bar menu. You need to click in here, access the top menu, And from there, you can access all the different documents and records that you have linked to that specific project, such as the timesheet, sales order, eventually manufacturing orders if needs to. And the one that interests me for now is the dashboard. As soon as I activate this one, I have a new button in here up above on which I can click. And as you can see, we have a profitability report in there. This one is managed in real time, so it will be adapted at each time a cost is added in here. And we can see, for example, that in the cost we have 235 euros. Well, what is this cost? As you may have guessed, it's the famous 5 hours that Anna has already performed until now. And how can we check that? By clicking in here on the timesheets, and we can see who has done what. If there is eventually more timesheets that have been done, it's just going to be a list view, and you can then click on the record that needs to. But how is it calculated per se? If we check on the profile of Anna, we can see in here that she has an employee cost, hourly cost of 47 euros. Times 5, it gives us the famous 235 euros in there. All right, but then what is the 250 euros that we have here up above? Well, it's linked to the sales order, because if you remember, we have just sold a design, a service package to Mr. Frank Einstein. And if we check in the sales order in here, we see that every hour is in fact charged for 50 euros. So times 5, it gives us the 250 euros in there. Okay, I think we have already seen a bit of the project management, the revenues, the costs, and so on. Let's maybe tackle the production in there. We'll go into the manufacturing order. And you know what? In fact, the idea of having a dark theme office desk is something quite interesting, and Anna would like maybe to produce it later on as one of her official products. So she has requested in here to create a specific template in which she will be able to provide every different components that needs to be selected, as well as the different operations that needs to be done into her work center. To do so, it's going to be into the bill of materials, and we can see that she has already created one. Well, she has notified to me that she's still missing a few components, so let's help her in there. And we are going through the catalogs to add the last components need in there. And as you can see, you can eventually use the different categories on the left if needs to, but in here it's quite simple for me because I do have them directly in here. And I'm going to add the control box as well as the wiring harness. Okay, so now I've had my different components in there. If we go to the next one, we see the different operations, so to-dos or tasks that needs to be done by the production team and the different work centers. Anna has also requested to me that she would like to be able to manage the electricity cost of those different work centers. She would like to make sure that each time one of the work center is being used, that the cost of it will be reflected into every production order that will be managed in there. How can we do that? Through the different configuration in here, work centers, and at each time we go inside one of them, we have here the notion of the different hourly cost of that work center, and in this case it's going to be the electricity cost for me. So it's going to cost me 10 euros per hour that the work center is being used. Now that we have that information, let's start the production of it. I'm going to add my customizable desk. We have the different components as needed previously, and we have the work order. The only thing part missing is to make sure that we have the link with our project until now in the dashboard. How can we do that? It's through the miscellaneous over here. You have exactly the same on the bill of material if needs to. And you can add in here the project, which is linked to the specific analytic account, and everything will be reflected correctly into the project. So let me add it in here and confirm. Okay, we are good to go, but you know what? Well, last minute changes happen, and Mr. Frank Einstein has just asked me if he could use the premium keypad instead of the basic one. So let's change this one. Instead of here, I'm going to say that I'm not going to consume the basic keypad, and I'm going to select the premium one instead. I'll say here that I need one of them. And as soon as I validate, I see that my component status has changed to tell me that it's not available. Well, I would like to replenish it quite quickly, and how can I do that? Thanks to the MO overview in here up above, I can click in here. I see the status of every different component, and I see that indeed this one needs to be ordered. I can open it here, and I have the replenish button in here. I will then order one quantity to my vendor V Electronics. Okay, as soon as that is done, I have a purchase order that will be opened. and I can confirm that one and receive my product. Okay, then it means I'm good to go with the rest of my production. So let me confirm this one and produce everything needed in here. I receive a message telling me that indeed I will be using the premium one instead of the basic one, which is correct. So I'm going to confirm this one. Automatically, what you have seen is that on my customizable smart desk, it's in fact traced by serial number, and automatically a serial number has been assigned to that. It is also something very nice into the version 19, is that now you have the possibility to say that you would like to use a specific prefix into the different serial numbers and so on, so that you have a kind of like specific format for that product. For me, it was the case of having desk up front, so that I know that it's specific for the customizable desk. Okay, we have done the different information. How can I check the different costs of my production? Well, I can click once again into the overview button in here up above. If I explain this view a bit more, you see first the components that have been used and the cost of every component in here. But you can also see the different operations that have been applied. In here it was kind of like easy, because I just said that basically the 1 hour per operation will indeed be used, and so it will be reflected in here at each time for 1 hour. And you might have noticed indeed, so we have the 10 euros of electricity that is also being applied 3 times, because we had 3 different operations. And we have now also the cost of Edward, because he had an employee cost of 48 euros per hour. So in total, in terms of operation, we have amounted to 174 euros. Let's check into the dashboard if we see this amount being applied as well. So let me go back into the project in here, back to the dashboard, and yes, it's being there. It's just there. Perfect. So I think the only thing missing for now is to sell the task to Mr. Frankenstein. So let's go back into the sales order, add the product, and this one will be sold for 1,000. And let's create the invoice. I'm ready, I will confirm this one. And now if I go back into the dashboard, I will also see now the impact of the task on my profitability report. Okay, I hope it was a lot of different information. If I now summarize what we have seen until now, it's that it's totally possible to manage your engineering to order flow into one fully integrated ERP such as Odoo. And as you have seen, it was not only the analytic account part that was being used in order to manage different costs and revenues of your production and manufacturing of the project, but also a lot of different applications were around that, such as being able to manage the planning of the different employees, being able to have a full project of your design, and lastly having the possibility to adapt to any last minute changes of your manufacturing. Okay, that was all. Thanks a lot, and we can go through the questions.
Thanks a lot, Maureen. People are writing the questions. I have one here. Is it possible to get to the manufacturing order directly from the project?
Yes, definitely. So as you have seen, when I clicked on the sales order, for example, you have also a button for the manufacturing order. But also thanks to the top menu bar that you have up above, you have the possibility also to select every manufacturing order linked to that project in case.
Okay, there's another question. How could that apply to customized services?
Well, it could be applied in many different ways. It depends on the use case that you might have. But for example, the use of a project application could be very essential to manage different services. In there, you could have very specific task management, employee management, and so on. So it depends a bit on the use case, but definitely use the project application.
All right, there's some more here. Is it possible to put users access right on the menu like dashboard?
No, we don't really have in terms of the dashboard, the menu dashboard. However, you have the possibility to limit the access right on the project itself, so it might be interesting to play with that.
Okay, how does subcontracting fit in?
Well, subcontracting is part of manufacturing. So if, for example, you will have a purchase that will be created in order to resupply a subcontractor and so on, that purchase can be linked to a specific analytic account, which will be reflected once again into your project dashboard, and you will be able to follow up the costs and revenues.
Okay, some more here. If I have purchase orders to do for the specific project, would I be able to link it to the project?
Yes, once again, thanks to the analytic account, you are definitely able to do that.
Okay.
Maybe one last thing to mention, it's also possible, for example, with the expenses.
Okay, I think there's no more questions. There's some comments. Great use case, great talk. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.